Thank you, sir.
So, flag bearer for the youth activities from our club is Dr. Savita Chaman.
Yes. Hello,
So, so
Savita.
much
Good to see you
enthusiasm.
after a long time.
Yes.
Namaste, ma'am.
Namaste.
So,
So, with so much enthusiasm, she's conducting this, and
Yeah.
we came to know about you through her.
Yeah.
And we are so much pleased to have your lecture in this
Thank you.
seminar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
I
Welcome.
welcome Dr.
It's
Chanda Gokhale, madam, as the resource person for today's seminar, and also our president, Rotarian Tyagarajuji, for being there well in advance present. Also, Vagishri, madam, she has just joined. We're waiting for the participants. So we have already started our meeting on recording mode because actually exams of SYs and TYs are going on. And as we all are aware, many faculties are also much busy into examination, supervisions,
that's
corrections.
true. Yes, yes.
And this is happening actually at the end of May when the academic year got extended by 2 weeks. However, we are happy that really something great is happening today.
Thank you so much. It's indeed a privilege to be among you, and thanks for giving me this opportunity to give a presentation on Ikigai diet. Uh, so,
So, Dr.
a
Chanda,
subject
madam, I
which
would
is
quickly like,
so dear to me, and it's a passion for me as
yes.
well. Yeah.
Madam, I would like to
So,
quickly introduce you Tyagarajuji sir with you. So he is actually a senior scientist from Bhabha Atomic Research Center. He is associated with many societal projects through Rotary Club of Mumbai Ghatkopar, and this year is the year of his presidentialship. So,
oh,
and
that's
this is
great
the
to know.
last month into which we are having some of our dream projects that we could not do in last 2 to 3 months. So yours is also one of it, and I'm happy to share that this whole project he has financed on his own personal way. So
That's
that
really
is the
nice.
biggest
Yes.
contribution that he has towards his societal commitments. I appreciate his wholehearted support to all the activities happening from Youth Avenue Rotary Club of Mumbai Ghatkopar.
Thank you, Dr. Savita. Shall I uh, give an introduction
Yeah,
from my
yes,
side about
I
Dr.
would request, first of all, let me, I think we should start. It's almost 3:30. We have to keep our time also since we do have another seminar 5 to 6. So we'll just wait for a minute and then we'll begin. Is that okay? Just 1 minute?
Sure,
Yeah,
during
yeah,
that
sure.
one
Okay.
minute,
Okay,
I will
fine.
say something about Dr. Savita for the benefit of Dr. Chanda Madam. Dr. Savita is called the Director for Youth Avenue in the Rotary Club of Ghatkopar. She was chosen for this looking at her enthusiasm. She has done doctoral research on a very special topic. Then whole club was so much glad that she came in flying colors with her research, and she's a very enthusiastic lecturer. Then she has very kind heart towards the youth, and all the plus points of her made her the director for this youth avenue. And we have many dreams on her behalf, and we have many dreams that she will do many more wonders.
Sure.
So she now
Definitely.
short introduction about her. She's a she's also a talented singer and dancer, and she is a spiritualist. She is showing keen interest in philosophy. So, in fact, her PhD topic itself is very close to Indian philosophy. So, uh, I can say that this year is a launching pad as a director for her. She would do many more things for society in due course of time. Over to Dr. Savita again.
Yes, thank you so much, sir, with your words of appreciation. I'm so much grateful for everything that you actually gave me as a platform. So let's move and let's begin our workshop. I heartily welcome all the participants, today's resource person, Dr. Chanda Gokhale, madam, and our president, Tyagarajuji, and the people who are already in the meeting. We are getting participants added on, but by the time we would start with it. So I heartily welcome on behalf of Rotary Club of Mumbai Ghatkopar to each one of you for this international seminar on food science and nutrition for a long, happy and healthy life. We are doing this as a part of our Indian knowledge system and also Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. We have today our renowned speaker for the day, Dr. Chanda Gokhale Madam. I would like to introduce her quickly. So she is an astute professional with over 20 years of experience in imparting education to students of nutritional sciences. She's worked as consultant dietitian for drug bioequivalence and bioavailability studies for various clinical research organizations. She possesses excellent organizational and communication skills. She has hands-on technical skills with abilities to innovate and implement procedures and process. She has deep experience in training and motivating students and staff members equally. With sound computer knowledge, including abilities to handle packages like MS Office, Internet, etc., competent in understanding research and development issues, possesses strong assessment, analytical, and planning skills, and extremely flexible and competent in adapting to different working environments. These were just technical introductions, but academia, if we can just look into, it's a long resume that I have. However, there is a great bunch of research papers contributed towards international journals, various research projects that she had, and she is on to various boards as a member of e-magazine editorial committee. E-magazine is launched by Protein Foods and Nutrition Development Association of India. Then she has reviewed research article titles, so many. She has also received best teacher award for the year 2016-17 by SPR Jagannathala Trust and Sarojanic Education Society. She had prepared study material on nutrients for the medical representatives of Wockhardt Limited, May 2012. And she is having lot many research papers to her credit. Talking about some additional attributes of Madam, it is in the field of translation, English to Marathi. So this we can call it like all the resource persons that we have called upon these days. These are all multi-talented. Reference material on child nutrition for nutrition educators of school nutrition program launched by Bonvita in collaboration with Indian Dietetic Association Mumbai chapter. Trainers module developed by Breastfeeding Promotion Network of India on complementary feeding. So these are translation based contribution from her end to the field of academia. So this is all about in short. I would like to now get back to Tyagarajuji for focusing on the concept of all these endeavors. The concept note of this particular seminar for the day.
Okay, I will take 1 or 2 minutes for this. Is it okay, Dr. Savita?
Yes.
Madam, actually, as you know, personality development programs are quite common in whichever NGOs the uh, their youth development is concerned. Now, but here uh, in this series of programs, uh, seeing the uh, leanings of Dr. Savita towards spirituality, we request her to add a component of spirituality into personality development programs. This is how she has been conducting several programs, multi-day programs, something like 10-day program, 2-week program. Initially, she has done a program on the basis of Dr. Deepak Chopra's program utilizing the concept of gratitude for development of life. Then on seeing the success of that program, we requested Dr. Savita to design her own program rather than taking up a program designed by other experts. So from scratch, she designed this particular program based on Ikigai. In this process, she went through cover to cover of Ikigai book. from the book, she has designed certain activities for the participants, like daily tasks. And especially daily tasks are the activities where really certain uh, inner inner changes happen into the participants. So she designed the whole program and she has been conducting it. Now, as a highlight, for each aspect of Ikigai, she is bringing in one expert. For example, one of the aspects in Ikigai program is about food and nutrition. So she invited you as an expert in this field. So it is another highlight, basically. So, so over to both of you. So this is what I wanted to briefly mention to you about
Yes,
this.
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much. So this was all about the story, how today's seminar is happening. It's all
Yeah.
due to a workshop of Ikigai. And so I think we should begin. And I hand over to Madam Dr. Chanda Gokhale for her presentation on the topic food science and nutrition for a long, happy, and healthy life.
Thank you, Savita. Well, my title is slightly different. I'll be more talking about the Ikigai diet, and I would like to welcome all the participants and good afternoon to each one of you. I'll share my screen with you so we can start the presentation now. Right. The title of today's presentation is the Ikigai diet for us. Of course, it comprises food and nutrition for longevity. And why I choose Ikigai diet, there's a reason behind it, which you would soon understand. And as Savita had said, that we should be talking about this because this is the diet which is so special and it is about the longevity. So let's look at the diet, and it is typically a Japanese term that is ikigai is used, and that's why I have said my presentation will be focusing on the diet that is for us. How the same diet plan we can apply to our situation or our condition. So the ikigai diet for us. Now introduction to Okinawa area in Japan. Now, this is where this Ikigai diet was first known about. Now, this was the area which was affected most in the Second World War, and because of lack of resources and leading to hunger, the life expectancy was very low. This scenario existed between 1940 to 1950. But as the time went by, the people of Okinawa recovered and now they are the now longest living citizens. So from hunger, deprivation and high mortality at a young age, they have now become the longest living citizens. So let's look at what's the secret behind their longevity. The blue zone. Now, this particular area, that is the Okinawa, it belongs to the blue zones. That is, there are five blue zones in the world, and these are typically the areas where the concentration of centenarians are very high. That means it has a very high population of 100-year-old living people. And the other blue zones besides Okinawa is this particular region which I was talking, Okinawa. Besides that, Sardinia in Italy, Nicoya in Costa Rica, Icaria, Greece, and Loma Linda in California, where the people who stay there are the longest and are the healthiest. Then I come to the declaration. In the northern Okinawa village, it's a very nice declaration which the residents of this particular region have given, and that's why I thought I should share with you. In the northern Okinawa village of Ogimi, a stone marker displays, it's all in Japanese, the original inscription on the stone, but its English translation is, it's very, very motivating. And how the elderly are and how they take life at, even if they are old, they are not, they want to live further. That is what it's reflected in this particular declaration. At 80, you're merely a youth. So 80-year-old, they consider themselves young. 90, if the ancestors invite you into heaven, ask them to wait until you're 100. That means they want to live till 100, and after 100, they may consider it. So, this is the declaration, and why they were able to do it, or why they were able to pen this declaration and put it on the and engrave it on the stone is because of their lifestyle. And one of the most important components of their lifestyle is their diet. Now, this diet is something which they have been following right from childhood, and it continues it throughout their youth, throughout their adulthood, and of course in the old age. Now, any effect of the diet, you is it's not like a magic that you eat for few days and immediately you see the effect. It is, one has to consistently follow it, and for years when you follow it, then of course you see the, that is where the, you have the blue zones of this in the world, where otherwise the people are suffering and who have a very poor quality of life, and the mortality due to diseases, which we call it as the chronic diseases or non-communicable diseases, which are now the forefront of the death. Like they are the ones which are the causes of the death, including diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular disease, and so on. So this declaration comes in the light, or it is very, it is because basically because of the diet which they follow it. So following a good diet or following a prudent diet is not a day old or a week old or a month old or a year old practice. It has to be imbibed. It has to be a part of yourself. That is the message perhaps these centenarians give us. So let's look at what it is. I'm sure you all would be curious to know what it is, and you'll soon understand that how our ancestors were wise enough, and what we were following in the past years, that also is similar to this Okinawa diet. So I'm going to point out the similarities of the Okinawa diet and the disparities, or where we have shifted from and where we are now. So let's start with it. At a glance, centenarian prevalence per 1000 people. In Okinawa, it is 81, Japan, it is 48, France 37, Italy 32, and US 20. Now, one of the most important factors that you would see the in the graph, and you can, one can easily note the difference, that it is because one of the factor, most important factor, of course, is the diet, and that is why the type of the diet which is followed in Okinawa is what has contributed to the high prevalence of the centenarians, which is nearly 81%. Now let us look at the Indian statistics just to give us the idea. Of course, the life expectancy has increased, has gone high, and it's steadily going high due to better medical care, and due to, or the healthcare facilities are good, and timely medication is, diagnosis and medication is done. So we have reached now, in 2023 we have reached from 70.42 from 20 to 23. So it is going up 0.33% from the last year. Same thing you would find from 21 to 22, 2020 to 21, and 19 to 20. So steadily, it's a very steady increase. And of course, better nutritional status is another factor that has led to the increased life expectancy in our country. But we have not reached centenarian. We don't have much, that we don't fall in any of our province does not come in the blue zone. Okay, and we have to, if we have to go to that, if we have to achieve some areas of blue zones in our country, we have to now pay attention to what we eat. Key to longevity, the ikigai. Now, Ikigai is what is your passion in life, what is your mission, what is the reason for your being. These are the three things which comprise the Ikigai. I'm not going to look into this thing. I'm only focusing on the diet. And of course, the last is the Ikigai. So, all these are the key to longevity. I'm sure maybe you would have covered this earlier three questions in the earlier sessions you had, and we will only be concentrating on the Ikigai diet. So let us look at the Ikigai diet. Ikigai diet, inclusion of wide variety of foods. Now, if and what is the Indian guidelines? Our Indian guidelines also talk the same. That is, you must have variety of foods in your diet. Now, as far as when you talk of the variety of the foods, one has to be very, very careful about what variety of foods you should eat. Unfortunately, our Indian guidelines have not specified what variety, on which foods you should have variety. You can't have variety of foods in your energy dense or your processed foods. What you need a variety is your in your staples, in your vegetables, in your fruits, in your pulses. That is the naturally occurring least processed foods. You can't, one should not have variety in, like, one day you eat pizza, the next day you eat burger, the third day you eat coke, fourth day you eat ice cream. This is what the younger generation now unfortunately is following. So that it doesn't mean that you have to variety in these foods and the fast foods. Variety should be in our staples, as I'm repeating it again, in fruits and vegetables, in pulses, in milk and milk products, and of course your oils and fats, nuts, all the naturally occurring foods, one should have variety. Now another key to it is that one at least 5 servings of variety of fruits and vegetables should be, it's that is one of the other feature of the Ikigai diet. And as they suggest, when you talk of the variety, it is very simply put, or a very easy to understand concept even for children, is that eat a rainbow. A rainbow comprises of different colors of vegetables and fruits. So it is a very easy thing to explain it even to a child, that okay, you pick up some greens, you pick up some reds, you pick up some purples, you pick up some white, and you have a wide array of colors, and that is what comprises the variety. So similarly, even for us also, National Institute of Nutrition, which is the pioneer nutrition research institute of the country, and that comes under the Indian Council of Medical Research, they too have recommended that one should have 500 grams of variety of fruits and vegetables, and that comprises 5 servings or 5 portions. So NI also has recommended that one should have, in short, one should have plenty of fruits and vegetables. Then the third is grains are foundation of their diet. Now in Japan, in this particular province, it's a white rice which is predominant, and sometimes it seems they had noodles. Grains to us also a staple. I need not expand on this anything further, because a typical Indian diet, irrespective of which province you come from, or if you have a look, a review of our Indian diets, you would see that it is mainly the cereals form the staples, and other are all accompaniments. We do have variety of cereals. Fortunately, we are really fortunate enough to have variety of the cereals. And now this year being the International Year of Millets, it that's what the government has declared. Government of India has declared, and now the thirst is on for millets. So a lot of they are popularizing millets through various in very various ways, and of course they are encouraging entrepreneurs to come up with the products based from millets. Now cereals and millets. So traditionally, if one looks at the diet a few years back, millets were a part of our diet. For example, Maharashtra, we had jowar, Gujarat, bajra, Rajasthan, bajra. In some other places, the other type of millets. So if one looks at the millets, one would be surprised to know that there are at least 8 to 10 different types of millets that are grown in different regions of the world. Then, of course, now south in Karnataka one has, and Maharashtra coastal region we have ragi. These are just two, three, four to four which I have named, but many more do exist locally, and people do consume it locally. So that is what government is now trying to promote consumption of millets because of the numerous advantages they have in terms of sustaining it in the adverse climatic condition, as well as the health benefits that the millets offer. So we have moved away from this traditional magic foods or traditional healthy foods, and we are adopting more of wheat and maida. So that is what is the matter of concern, and that is where we should be aware that we have to leave that and come back to millets. In whatever form one likes, one should consume it. That's what the whole recommendation is all about. Now, Ikigai diet, they eat fish thrice a week. Similar frequency of fish consumption in our country, and fish has got numerous advantages. It provides a type of fatty acids which are extremely beneficial. I'm not going to go into any technical detail because this is not a specialization crowd. This is, I understand, it's a general crowd. So, the as far as considering the type of people we have, I think I'm restricting to the simple recommendations. But if any, of course, if you have anybody who would want to know more, you are most welcome at the end of the session to ask questions. So inclusion of fish is also very important, and that's where we have similar to the Ikigai diet followed by the people from those province. They have pork once or twice a week. Now, instead of pork, we have meat. The type of the meat is the same. It's both is meat preparation, meat per se, different animals, but that is where the dissimilarity is. Otherwise, as far as nutrition is concerned, both become a good source of proteins. So this is about the Ikigai diet, and these are our Indian guidelines, which are so very similar to the Ikigai diet. Now we see this is the very nice way which National Institute of Nutrition they have put it across, so that it is very easy for anyone to understand the concept of a balanced diet. And of course, it also comprises not only the all the food groups but also variety within the food groups. So largest chunk comes from the fruits and vegetables, and if you see in the picture, so many fruits and vegetables have been, so that it's so similar to the Ikigai diet that you have variety of fruits and vegetables, and as you see, it's so similar to the rainbow, which the Ikigai diet says. Then of course we have cereals and as I mentioned to you, millets. Then we have fats and oils, that is in a very limited amount. Nuts and seeds, little higher than fats and oils, because nuts and seeds also give you other nutrients besides just the fats. Then pulses and eggs and flesh foods in moderation. So this is what the new concept has come from NIN about the milk. And last you will see milk and curd. So this if one follows this, it's a very healthy diet one would follow. One should understand how the plate should be. That's all. Now the traditional Okinawan diet, that is what it is. That if you look again, the vegetables and fruits, legumes, low GI. GI is the glycemic index. That means the response in the rise in the blood sugar when you consume this grains. And these grains, the whole grains like wheat, whole wheat, then unmilled rice or the jowar, bajra, natsni or ragi, they are all known as low GI grains because the response of blood sugar, the spike or the raise in the blood sugar is much more lower than the refined cereals like maida or products made of maida like bread. So that is where the advantage is, that low GI grains are always beneficial. And now oats is also is one of the low GI grains that's added to the list, and it's quite popular. Uh, because of the processing that is done, and it's made highly palatable. So oats is also recommended GI green, low GI green. Fish and lean meat, again in moderation, of course, lesser than the legumes because legumes also are low GI. Like grains, even the legumes are also low glycemic index, which is favorable. Oils, condiments, herbs, and spices, yes, basically we use them for making our food palatable. And the last, alcohol in moderation, there says, and sweets. Now here we have Delhi Sanpin jasmine tea. We don't have that. That's where we differ from, but we do have tea. And I would say that tea, what we have, is again a good source of phytonutrients. There are nutrients, phytochemicals that are present. The whole emphasis, if you look so far, it's on the vegetables and fruits and the whole pulses or legumes and grains. The advantage is that they, besides nutrients that are required for nourishing our body, they are also very good source of phytochemicals. And these phytochemicals are now known to provide you with many advantages that help to maintain good health. So these phytochemicals, the main source of these phytochemicals are these natural plant foods, and that is why the word phyto is used. Phyto means chemicals that are coming from the plants. So animal foods like fish and lean meats are devoid of that, but that does not mean that they are not good. They, as the Ikigawa diet says, in moderation they are good because they become a good source of protein and other nutrients like iron. Sweets sometimes in moderation, alcohol in moderation, and another most important component, which of course is also recommended by NI, is the daily physical activity. And I personally feel, and well, that is where we fall short, our physical activity is considerably lowered than what it was years before, or maybe our great grandfathers, great grandfathers, and to a certain extent to our parents who are involved in a more intense physical activity than what we are. And our children, perhaps their physical activity is extremely low to various different reasons. So we are all aware of it, and it is a challenge for us to drive them out of all this alluring things to get back to the physical activity. So it's really a big challenge. Otherwise, the coming generation would have to pay a very big price because their food habits have changed and physical activity is lane. As long as they are young, they may not exhibit any, but as they grow old, definitely it will lead to many health issues. And generally, it's likely that the quality of life would be very low for them. It's really a matter of concern. It's a public health problem, and which needs to be addressed. Of course, efforts are made, recommendations are given, but as far as people following it, somehow there is a lack of there's lack of awareness, I would say, and not much importance is given to all these issues. So that's about the traditional Okinawan diet. Now I come to my next. Now Ikigai diet, where do we differ from? And that's why the Indian version I put it in red. I mean, it's a indication that yes, this is alarming, and this is from where we need to come change. They have sugarcane or sugarcane juice as a part of their diet, whereas we have refined sugar, and the problem starts there. So of course, when one has the whole sugar cane or when one has the sugar cane juice, it provides, again, I'll mention to you the many of the natural phytochemicals. When you refine the sugar, obviously any refining process removes the phytonutrients or phytochemicals, and that is where the problem starts. They don't have more chocolates or sweets. That's what their diet is. And here in our country, chocolates or sweets consumption is high, and now it has become more frequent. Again, same issues. Centuries back, the sweets, the traditional Indian sweets were made only on the occasions, and only at that time they were consumed. But now, because of the better technology and good manufacturing practices, that are followed by the Indian food industry. And so we have abundance of this Indian sweets also available. Again, tasty, safe for consumption and different occasions. So people tend to buy also more of the sweets. Consumption is also very high. So besides festivals, also there are so many other occasions where sweets are consumed. That's why I put it as very high consumption and there is frequent consumption. So once there is really no check on how much people eat, and that I perhaps that is once entirely depends on the person itself that how much to consume, what to consume. It's entirely the person's prerogative. They have less salt, 7 grams per day. So that means salt consumption again is low. Again, salt, like sugar, is a culprit for many of the non communicable diseases. And as one knows, that it's linked to the hypertension or high blood pressure. And so the salt intake has to be recommended. World Health Organization has also recommended that the salt consumption should be less than 10 grams per day. And if you look at the Indian consumption, these are some recent figures which I have taken, that is 9.45 grams per day to 10.41. So average one can take the 10 grams, that's the double, then much more than the recommendation of salt by WHO we are consuming. And again, that is where we need to pay attention. And if we change this, we will be very close to Ikigai diet. Then I come to the next, let's turn to healthy eating. Okay. Now, here it's a very interesting concept that what Ikigai diet and how they are following it. So, how can we do? What are the strategies? We need to adopt some strategies. All right. And for a common person, what would be helpful? It's not possible to weigh the food every time we eat, but certain simple things, if one follows it, it is it's like you are eating in a healthy way. You are enjoying the food as well as it is healthy. Hara hachi hu. What does it mean? It says fill your stomach to 80%. So don't eat up to 100%. When you feel that, oh, now it's enough, but yes, I can eat a little more. And that is the point one should stop. And that recognition or that awareness, everybody should do it or consciously follow it. That fill your stomach to 80%. A little less than what otherwise it would be. And how do you achieve it? 80% consumption of food. Stop eating when you are almost full. So if you, when you feel like, oh, I can have one spoonful more, what difference is that one spoon is going to make? Okay. I've had two rasgullas. One rasgulla is not going to make much difference to me. I'm not asking for more, no, just one more. That is where the problem comes. If you have had two and if you feel the stomach is full or you have had enough, then one should stop. Skip desserts or reduce portion sizes. One way of doing it is you have to one can skip desserts. Again, they are concentrated sweets, so that's a good way that you skip on the calories, and that is one way of doing it, as I said. But or you can reduce the portion sizes. So how much you are taking normally, how much you will take? You take little less than what you take. And when you finish that plate, you know that you are almost 80% full. That's it. Don't don't you should not fall for, oh, I can have one spoon more. If you want, have spoonful more of vegetables, of salads, or an extra serving of fruit or an extra portion of fruit. If you have had one apple, yes, do go ahead, have one half apple more if you feel like having it. But avoid apple pie. Instead of that, going for apple. If you want curds, yes, go ahead, have a spoonful of curds more, but avoid Shrikhand. So that is where you needs to judiciously decide what to have, what to not have, and accordingly adjust the portion sizes. Then one of our Indian customs is that we don't have courses as the Westerners are, and so also this Ikigai diet follows. The Ikigai diet, they have food, everything is served once, including the soup. Unlike the Western style of serving food, where you have courses and the soup is the main first course along with some accompaniments, followed by the side salad, then accompaniment, then later on the main course, and ending with the dessert. So what they have said is that when you have these courses, every time you eat that much portion, because whatever is served, you tend to eat. But when you serve it, thali, that is what our Indian style is. That Indian traditional meal, we serve it at once. Everything is served in the plate. So at the same time, you have variety also, unlike the Westerners, where because of the courses, their variety is reduced. Salad will be one sometime. Main course will be just one food. But whereas in here you have everything in the plate. So your portioning is also limited. The amount of, if one looks at the way the Indian thali is served, you will see the portions are of the vegetables and then of the main staples, that is cereals, it is very limited. And at the same time you have variety. So that again is one strategy to achieve hara haji hu. Next is the last, I would say. Let us turn. So, this is about it. Now, let us come to the Nuchi Gusai. Nuchi Gusui. I hope that's the right way to speak. It means let food be your medicine. That means they consider food as medicine, and that is perhaps the secret to their longevity. That they don't need any other medicine. The food itself takes care of their health. Of course, as a source of nutrients and and the phytochemicals take care of their health. This more or less it reflects the cultural context, and their culture is such that they consider food as their medicine. They don't consider food to be different from the medicine. The distinction between food and medicine blurs in Okinawa. That means every food they eat, they think it's good for their health. And that is what is the right thing to maintain good health. Perhaps that is ingrained in right from or imbibed by them at a very young age, and it's sustained over their entire lifespan. And that is perhaps one of the secret of their longevity. And deeper analysis, why this food distinction between food and medicine ends there? Because deeper analysis reveals that many of the traditional foods, herbs, or spices in Okinawan diet have medicinal properties which are under investigation. Now, one Dr. Suzuki, he and his group of team, they are doing research, and this research has been going on for some time on this particular set of people, and they want to study the different aspects of groundwater and what is the secret of their longevity. And one, of course, is the physical activity and a good proper diet. Apart, and it also comprises not only food and the exercise part of it, but generally even the social and the mental well-being. And as WHO has said, the definition of health is that is the person is having not only the physical health but mentally and socially or person well-being also is considered in the WHO definition of health. And perhaps that is what the people from Okinawa are following it. And so this scientist who's with his team has been doing research and published lot of scientific papers have been published uh, trying to understand the secrets of the longevity, and they have given a good focus. They have talked about the Okinawa diet, and now of course it's also, I suppose it's also known as Ikigai diet, and they have discussed the similar points which I had put forth earlier, that a healthy diet also is one of the most important contributory factors to healthy life up to later years. So here they have said that traditional food, herbs and spices have medicinal properties. So this is what the Dr. Suzuki and his team have said. Now, and they are investigating what properties are there that which give them a long, healthy life. Now, this is something again, Nuchigushi in India. We also have so many spices and herbs. In fact, our every preparation we have some spices added to it, including our sweets also. We do add cardamom, we do add clove. So every preparation we have spices and herbs, and they are known to have the medicinal properties, and they are all described in our Ayurvedic texts which have reported it. So different spices and different herbs, they have different medicinal properties, and now it is supported by research. So these texts which have quoted the medicinal properties of spices and herbs, now research has proved that yes, these do have medicinal properties. The classic example I think of is of the turmeric. If one is aware of it, lot of studies were being done in National Institute of Nutrition years back to prove, and they have proved, the scientists there have proved that turmeric has immense nutritional properties. Now, in our Indian household, turmeric powder is an inevitable part of the culinary. Practically everything we cook, we add turmeric powder, and we all know that it's quickly put on any